Well, hello, everybody. The big smiling grins on the face there. Thank you for joining us. Tonight's topic is going to be a very sensitive one, but I think one that a lot of people might be interested in hearing. And we highly invite you to comment and ask questions. This is a safe space.
Mhm.
Tonight's topic is dealing around sexual trauma, regardless of age, and how that can affect psychic ability and spiritual content, or not content, but the context around it.
Okay.
Joining me this evening is Gregory Nicholas. If you're from the Cleveland area, you probably know Greg. Greg is a fourth generation psychic and medium, very talented and gifted reader. So if you're ever in the store and stopping in, feel free to sit down with them. Um, but tonight, yes, we definitely invite you to ask questions, be it of
Mhm.
him or if you need help in your own situation.
Okay.
Um, but with that, Greg, if you want to kind of take it away. How did
Okay.
you know, decide that
Good.
it's time to share this?
Uh, Good question. It's been something that's been on my mind for a while. I am older. I'm looking at those on the line. A lot of you know me. Glad you're all here. Um, a lot of things go on with this topic, everyone, including the stigma, the things like that, the soul searching, um, and how it has helped me use during my readings, whether they be psychic readings or, in fact, even some of the mediumship. Some of the sensations I do get during medium session are directly related. I figured if it's one, I would just start and say what happened to me when I was 7. Was a relative, a guy. It was at night in my parents' home, and in those days, the houses only had 1 or 2 bedrooms. I was on the couch. It was a pull-out couch, sleeping, 7 years old. He was 16, and all at once I felt something down my pajamas. It was a hand, and I immediately went very cold, frozen, scared, afraid to move. This individual did have a temper, um, not a bad temper, but yelled. To my knowledge, there was never any history of a problem or anything like that. And I'm just going to say, I assume we are all adults out there. The groping, I was extremely frozen. I remember being very, very, very scared. People would say, "How long did it go on? Did you do anything?" No, 7 years old. I was scared, very scared as to what was going on. I had never experienced anything like that in my life. Um, Seemed like it went on for a while. I know it was at least a couple of minutes. And then all at once, he did remove his hand from inside my pajamas. It was inside everyone, through the pajamas and underwear. Okay, it was inside. He pulled it out and fell asleep. I remember just laying there very scared. If I went to sleep, I really don't remember. That was a Saturday evening. The next day was Sunday, and he had to return to his home state of Erie, hometown of Erie, with his parents. It's important to know that both his mother and father were very close to my mother and father. His mother and my mother were sisters, very close sisters. When they left, I remember the fear. What do I do again? 7-year-old little boy, how do you handle it? Um, but I knew I had to tell my parents, and mom and dad were always very, very open. They were never one to make me feel I couldn't approach them. When they left, I want to say it was about 20 minutes. Don't hold me to that. I think, if I recall right, I started to cry. It was in the dining room of the house and just sitting there. The dining room in our home was a catch-all. The dining room table was where you sat, you did bills, whatever. It was by no means formal. And I was starting to cry, and both mom and dad, I can remember them, looked at me, and they both came up and said, "What's wrong?" And I said, so-and-so, his name, he is dead, though he died a couple of years ago. Um, I said, he touched me. And they said, where? And I said, he grabbed me, and I told them what happened. And they looked at each other. And I immediately, to this day, remember the tears in my mother's eyes. She looked at Dad, and I could still feel Dad's touch on my shoulder. It was okay. They were not angry, everyone. They were not angry, very supportive. I remember Mom fighting back the tears. Dad was right there. I remember Dad picking me up and carrying me, and Mom was right there. At that point, I think she went into the other room because I know she's very angry. Let's put it that way. Dad held me and everything, and a few minutes went touched her because I was crying, of course. And he said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah." He put me down, did not leave the room, was laying on the floor at the time. Mom came back in and she looked at him and she said, "We're calling Erie." Uh, I remember those words vividly. Um, just so you know, I was 7. My parents were, Mom was early 40s, Dad was late 40s, because there was about an 11-year, 12-year difference between the two of them. They got on the phone, and in those days, remember, we're talking 1969, 1970 maybe, there were no cell phones, no portable phones. You had one phone in the house. It was on the dining room wall, white, and you got yelled at, for those of you my age, for stretching the cord. You know, you pull the receiver, you're going to stretch the thing, the whole bit. And I can remember them there, and I was sitting right there. And by this time, my aunt and uncle were home with their son. That was their son. And Mom called, and she said my aunt's name and said, "We need to talk. We have a problem." I remember this vividly. I mean, I've been going over it since Melissa and I talked about doing this, and it never changes. Uh, she said, "We need to talk." And she said, "Get so and so, her husband, there." And they were there. And again, no speakerphone. And I was sitting right there, and Dad had me on his lap at the time. And Mom was there, and I remember her turning her back because of her fighting back her tears. Okay. And my aunt, she says, "We have a problem." My cousin's name touched Greg. And I was sitting right there, and Dad was telling me, he said, "It's okay, just tell her." And I repeated the story. They were holding the phone like this so they could hear. I said, "Well, he touched me where and what he did." And I could hear the gasp on the other end of the receiver of my aunt and uncle. They were at the time in their mid 50s. And I could hear the gasp, like, "Oh my God." And I remember her saying to my aunt, "Is he okay?" And my uncle, "Is he okay?" And then one of them yelled, "Greg, are you all right? Is there anything else?" And I believe it was my aunt said, she said, "We love you." And I remember faint, and going forward, Mom said, looked at, because I was still on Dad's lap, and Mom said, "Is there anything else?" And I shook my head no. And then they went to talking. Dad took me in the other room. Now, what they talked about, I don't know. To this day, I don't know, and I don't want to know. They were very, very supportive of me, believing me the whole bit. And there was never any doubt at all. The few family members that do know always asked, and they know my parents, and I said, no, there was always a support, never any doubt. What did you do? Did you start it? No, none of that nonsense. None. My parents were very, very, very supportive of me, making sure I'm okay, comforting. And in those days, again, 1969-ish, guys, there weren't counselors or anything like that. Your counseling was your family. And I was extremely fortunate that my parents were very, very supportive of me. And "Are you okay?" And then Dad had carried me into the other room. Mom came back in and said, "They're okay." And "Are you all right?" And conversation between my mother and her sister, but I know mom got into the other room. And I remember hearing saying, they're going to take care of it. They're going to take care of it. After that incident, my cousin, an individual I did not see for years, uh, kept him away from me. But very important, about 10 days later, for some reason, my aunt and uncle had to come back from Erie, about an hour drive. And they came in, and I can still remember the look on my aunt and uncle's face. And her and I were very close, and we got closer as she got older before her death. Just came right up to me and hugged me. My uncle picked me up. Family, and it felt good. I don't recall if I was nervous about them coming or not. My cousin, their son, was not with them, of course. I don't him ever set foot in the house again, to be honest with you. Which, Frank, I don't care. Um, and they were very supportive of me. And so from then on, things went good. It was dinner and things were okay. And I was fine. Later on, my gifts were developing. For those of you who know me, I started seeing things at age 4. My gifts were developing. Um, and the older I got, the more of a twin was. Whenever I would start tuning in, whether it be during the psychic side or a mediumship side, everyone, of someone who had such an encounter, let's just say it was molested. Okay. And people say, well, mild, severe, I don't care. Molesting is molesting, period, especially when you're 7. Um, and I would get a twinge, like in my stomach, of what's going on during reading. And even the moonship side, I would start feeling this, like a pat or a slap. And that's one of the ways that I would know the person I was tuning into would went through something similar, whether it was male. Okay. To this day, in fact, this is Saturday. Today, I was doing a reading for somebody in the Akron area, and I started getting the knot in my stomach. That's the only way I can describe it to this day. It's not butterflies; it's a knot or plexus. And that's how I know one of my, if you will, something's going on. And then I start getting this. Again, my sign for maybe some sort of a hit, although I was not hit. Let me make that very clear. I was not hit. Um, that's just one of my signs. And today I try and be very careful around individuals, whether male or female, when that happens. I looked at him and I said, something happened to you when you were, I'm 58. He was about my age, I think. And he looked at me and said, yeah. And I said, this is from an uncle who's passed. And because I felt the uncle's energy on my right hand side, and the guy started to well up. And I always ask, do you want me to start feeling these? I said, do you want me to continue? And he said, yes. And I said, there's a strong apology here from this uncle for, I said, being somewhat inappropriate. The guy broke down. And I looked at him and I said, very directly as I could, I said, I know what you went through. And he looked at me and I said, it happened to me. In a way, there's a sense of closure, but a sense of relief. Okay. And he said, thank you. And he said, how did you get through it? And I relayed to him the story I just told all of you about being supportive. I got through it. My family was there. His difference was he never told anybody until he was much, much older. His opinions, the whole bit. We all do things differently. And he thanked me, and I went on through the reading that was here, who had been gone a couple of years, I believe. Thanked him, or not thanked him. I'm sorry. Apologized for what he did. And the guy got a very angry look on his face, one a very stern, like my client, the one I'm reading. And I kept asking, do you want me to go on? And I said, yeah. He said, I said, the uncle was he did. I said, I'm smelling a liquor. Well, he did have a drinking problem. He said, I'm not excusing that. And I said, you don't have to. The uncle then faded away, and the guy looked at me, and by this time he went pretty hard. And I said, "Do you want me to continue?" And he said, "Yeah." Came through, and it felt like it was this uncle's wife, the aunt, who was gone as well, saying to him how sorry she was, embarrassed. She didn't know for a while what was going on. Now, whether or not she knew prior to her death or not, I'm not sure. I don't think she did. Uh, but this guy, he then felt better. The bottom line is, everyone, when I'm talking about this is my way of helping other people who have gone through it, knowing that I've gone through it. And I always tell everybody it's confidential. Okay. That during a reading, and those of you who know me know I keep it very quiet. Um, it's none of anyone's business. But if something does come up during the actual reading, I do ask them if they want me to go on. Today, this gentleman was he seemed very thankful. In fact, he did thank me. It helped him, being that we're both guys the same age and something similar happened. Only different with me, it was a cousin who was about 16. For him, and I believe at the time, it was 20s, something like that. So that's how I use it. And during a reading or something, when I start getting the twinges or here, I know something's coming up, and that's how I prepare myself. And knock wood, hey guys, where it has been not welcome, or someone has gotten angry or whatever. People, it's always been like some sort of a nice, common uh, sort of event that it's a healing thing for people as well, if that makes any sense. So, who has any questions too right away? Melissa, do you have any?
All right. Well, right now, not necessarily a question, but we do have a comment.
Or
Um,
comments, guys? Yeah.
yeah, Charlie said she's sorry that happened to you, that, they were molested at 4. So this is no judgment free. Feel free
Yes,
to
there it is.
uh,
That's it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
put in comments, ask questions,
Mm-hmm.
ask, Greg, maybe how that kind of either hindered or helped the development of your psychic ability, Greg. Like, did you find that it stifled it at times, this
Um,
fear?
it might have. That's a good point. That's a very good point, Melissa. It may have stifled it, but remember, I had already started seeing things before then. I started seeing things at age 4. So my
Mhm.
mother and her sisters, this aunt being one of them, were there to mentor me and nurture me. Stifled, I'm not sure about that, but maybe buried for a little bit. Yeah, but I always had them in my family. For those of you who know me, I come from a very religious family. Um, and still practicing. Uh, you basically trust God uh, to take care of it. I look at it this way: when it started to bloom more and more again, like high school and in my working career, that was my way, and still is to this day, of helping someone else who may have gone through that as well. Does it still hurt? Yes, obviously, you can tell from my reaction. Still does. Um, I thought it was gone, but it's not. Um, um, it's my way of helping other people, whether male or female. I will say this: there are many more men out there who it occurred at, I'm going to say 10 and under. Charlie, you made a comment there. I was 7. And in those days, guys, in the 60s and 70s, we didn't have counselors or anything like that. My parents, again, thank God, I mean, they're both gone many years, were there supporting me. I did not get in trouble. I did not get yelled at by anybody. I want to make that very, very clear. They were very, very supportive. And I really attribute my parents that being supportive to help me and being able to talk through it, whether it be with a one-on-one session or in an event like this. The only thing that kind of bothers me sometimes is during a seance or a gallery event where I pick up on that. And then I am finding myself just digging very, very deep, not to have the emotional side, such as this, come through. Um, I look at it this way: I'm there to help the other person. They don't need to see me like this. Um, that's just the way it is. But did it stifle my development? Maybe for a little bit, but going forward, it does help me. And even when I pick up on a spirit who has been molested in some way, I do get the same reaction. I should say the pit, things like that, in order to help them. That they were worried. This happened not too long ago during a mediumship session where some lady came through where she had been abused by an uncle. I think she was 12, something like that, if I recall. And she just wanted the people there to know, because she died young. She died like in her 30s. She wanted the people there to know that she did not ask for it. You know, my thing is, I was 7, Charlie, you were 4, this other lady, 10 or 12. No, we didn't ask for it. Okay. No, we didn't. How can you? And this lady came through during that just to let people know she didn't ask for it. it in my eyes, it's proof, evidence that even those deep-seated feelings that we had when we were living still are there when we're dead. The people during this gallery, or the reading event, I should say, were very pleased that she came through and just wanted her to know that they never thought that she indeed encouraged it, asked for it, or anything like that. Mhm. So, any other comments, please, or anything? Melissa, do you have anything, or anyone, please? That's why we're doing this, to help
So Holly
people.
says, Holly appreciate you sharing. She
Hmm.
too understands you are so lovely. I hope you know how much I love you. There are many people who you will be helping by doing this. Thank you,
Thank you.
dear heart.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Robin, God bless you, Gregory, and God bless your parents. My heart goes out to you.
Yeah.
And I love
Yeah.
the fact that your parents were willing to stand behind you and not
Oh,
automatically, you're a little kid, what do you know? No, you didn't, willing
yeah.
to, you know, enact on behalf of you. Because unfortunately, I think
Mhm.
that doesn't happen for the most part, or at least back
Yeah.
then, especially for little boys.
And there, and Melissa, you bring up an excellent point. Excellent point. There was never anything of never, ever, you're lying, or Greg, don't lie, or Greg, don't make that up. Never,
Hmm.
never. It was always right there. And even from not only my mother and father, but um, thing of you're making that up or like, no, or don't you dare say that. No, nothing, nothing at all about that. So I was very supportive, and I'm lucky. I'm looking here. I see Teresa pick up on traumatic events that people have blocked memory off. Yes, yes. That
Hmm.
is why. Good question, Teresa. Real good question. That when I do pick up on it, I always ask, is it okay if I proceed? If you want to stop, tell me. I'm not there to relive, to make you live through a rather traumatic event or anything like that. That is not my task. I'm there just simply that, live through it. Thank God for me, it was a one time. You know, I know there are many others out there. It was more than one time, multiple occasions. Unfortunately, mine was once.
Hmm.
Um, and uh, that I'm able to at least help somebody, especially from between the two worlds, if you will. Um, uh, I'm willing to do. But there's never any doubt or anything. But yeah, Teresa, I do pick up on that. And if people want me not to talk about it, I do not. I do respect them. I'm not one of those people who say suck it up. No, not at all. Hmm.
Charlie says, I wasn't able to come out about it for a long time, and I recently found out my half sister was involved and possibly grooming us for years. I'm sorry.
Wow. Yeah, Charlie. Yeah. Yeah. Charlie, have you confronted that individual?
It might take a minute for it to
Okay,
pop
because
up.
that's an individual choice, and I am not telling you to do so. Okay. Um, just while we're waiting for that, it has doesn't make it any less war. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you. Um, and I God, I lost my train of thought. No, it doesn't. It doesn't make any less bad. But and some, people, the few people who do know say, well, it was only once. I don't care, and neither should anyone else. Once, twice, even half of an attempt, even if it's an inappropriate touch or caress, it's still wrong. Okay, and all
Mhm.
of you know that. All of you know that too.
And Charlie
But
says no, they have not,
yeah,
confronted.
yeah. Okay, I understand, and that's a very personal thing on your terms. Getting back to the readings, like I said, I am very maybe ultra sensitive to when those twinges start coming through, whether it's a psychic reading or a mediumship. Um, to me, psychic is when I'm using the cards and the tools going forward, doing a reading, and I may pick up on that, unfortunately, happening to somebody, and the villain, if you will, is still alive. Okay. During the mediumship session, it is picking up on it occurred from someone who's dead. Either they did it or it happened to them. And so that's why I say, should I proceed? There have been some shocking incidents, everyone, where the people who come through, like one time a while ago, a lady came through with her. I got to get this straight. She was coming through. I was reading her brother because she had died a few months before. I was reading her brother. She came through to let her brother know that they had a common uncle who had did this to her. The guy just couldn't believe it. She was able to describe a house and things like that, and he broke down and cried. This was something even from the beyond, if you will, that she needed to clear and that her family needed to know. This gentleman was very upset, as all of you can imagine, um, that he wasn't there to help her and to protect his sister. She kept it quiet. You know, some of us were made to feel dirty. I was not. Again, I am reiterating that. There was never anything that I did anything wrong. You were made to feel dirty, whatever. Never, ever, guys. Nothing like that at all. So it does happen. And I'm able to do that. And hopefully I grow through that. And I try and really be as gentle as I can. And if someone wants me to stop during a reading or whatever, I do. I do. Mm-hmm.
Now, Charlie says that they have not confronted um,
Mm-hmm.
Lester. Do you find that when people come in for the reading, that if they don't want you to come in, and this is like, let's say the perpetrator has passed and they're trying to come back and say, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Like, do you find that the living client, do they either more often, are they willing to accept that apology, or are they more like they still don't want to address it? They rather not even talk about it?
Both. Both, Melissa. Sometimes it's there. I don't want to talk to them. I
Mhm,
say, okay, they're here. There's an apology, and I don't want to talk to them. That's fine. I do respect that. And then I ask the spirit to leave. Again, we're not here to cause trouble. If they do come through and the person is willing, again, I choose my words very carefully, unless I hear some buzzwords that spirit is telling me, just to let them know. But if they say no, in my mind, no means no. Again, as I said at the beginning, I'm not there to say suck it up and live with it.
well, and you don't want to victimize them again by
Exactly.
them hear from this person.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, again, those of us who have lived through this, guys, here, is it PTSD? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Um, but it's traumatic, for anybody. But obviously, when spirit comes through to let her surviving brother know that that happened, she did it for a reason. And I just refuse to believe that she did it, telling me to tell him that she did it to make him feel bad, to make him feel like he wasn't there to protect her.
Mhm,
I refuse to believe that. I feel it is her needing to clear her mind, if you will, so that she can rest in peace.
mhm.
Was he angry with her in this case? No. I have never had a surviving person be angry at a spirit who come through to fill in something about that. That has never happened.
And I wonder too if maybe there was worry on the spirit side of, like, maybe that happened to her brother too, and maybe
It could be.
like,
That's a good point. Hmm. And Melissa, you bring up a good point. Now, it wasn't with this case, but over the years, and again, the years I've been doing this, when it happens, you hear people say, "Well, I often wonder." Um, I have had it happen during spouses, where both spouses are gone, and I'm reading the children, brother, sister, whatever, maybe a group thing, and mom and dad come through not together but separately, okay, apart, and they're looking at each other. And one time it has come out where mom is there, how he wasn't nice, he hit me, abused me, whatever. And the kids, I can still remember the ones looking at each other, the surviving children, saying, "We often wondered if there was a problem, but mom never said anything." Okay. I do strongly feel that spirit is coming through to say that,
Mhm.
so that they can rest in peace. And maybe in this case, maybe we all know spiteful spirits, guys, come on, are doing that to let these kids know that their father wasn't perfect. I'm just guessing. Mhm. But it does
Right.
happen. Unfortunately, everyone, it does happen more than you would think.
The spitefulness or the
No, the coming through. No, good. I'm sorry. No, the coming through to say that there was an event. And it can be anything from a situation like mine to happening when someone was under the influence of maybe liquor, drugs, something like that. Or, we all hear it too, guys, the mental illness. We do hear that.
Now, have you had a spirit come through to give warning to the live client, like this is what's going on in your house that you may not know?
I've heard things to be careful. Yeah, I have had that once or twice. Be careful, someone is being, and I am very careful how I couch that so as not to accuse. Okay, that's not my job. I say to them, spirit is saying, like, say it's mom or Aunt Aunt Martha. She is saying for you to be careful, be aware. Do you need to keep a closer eye on so and so? And I say, I'm being touched. Is everything okay? Is there a problem with someone? Uh, a few times it's been, yeah, we have thought so. We'll look into it. I've never had this happen where, oh no, we refuse to believe that. I've never had that happen.
Which is good,
Yeah,
hopefully
yeah.
keep an eye
Hmm.
and either stop it or keep it from starting, unfortunately.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And it has happened too, Melissa. You bring up another good point. At all ages, it's just not me 7, Charlie 4. All ages.
Hmm.
Boys and girls. Doesn't make
Hmm.
it right. Whether you're young like I was, 10, 12, or whatever. All ages of development. I have found out over the years. You know,
Well,
too.
and thankfully, this time that we're in right now, it's easier, and I say that loosely because it's
Hmm.
never easy to address it, but it's easier, I think, for those that have gone through it to come out and tell their story and not immediately
Yeah.
be shunned,
Yeah.
not believed. That it's easier to come out and have somebody go, "I believe you,"
Yeah.
and be willing to help.
Mhm.
Which is a
Yeah.
wonderful thing
And
because.
that you're not dirty, Melissa. Again, in my situation, mom and dad very, very supportful. Again, I'll say it and I'll say it again. Very supportive of me. Aunt and uncle as well. Not that, oh well, what did you do, or you're dirty, or were you a bad boy, or no, nothing like that. Nothing.
Now,
Mm-mm.
did you ever run into that family member again, ever,
Yeah.
just even by accident? And did
Uh,
you get that apology?
No, never got an apology. Down the road, I will tell you this. I ran it many years later. That person was in and out of jail for theft, drugs. He did stage a robbery, you guys, in his own family's house. He robbed his parents' house to stage it. It was bad. He was in jail. I know twice that I recall, things like that. He did have a history down the road of being, I want to say domestic violence, nothing of a sexual nature, nothing like that. But yeah, and when I was older, we just kept our distance, because by then everyone was older, and I honestly didn't know the family members there who knew. I really didn't. My mother
Mhm.
was one of seven. I never knew. And when I was older, the adult side of me is, well, shoot, I don't know who knows. I need to be careful. Um, I see. Yeah. Um, uh, People of authority as well. This individual, he drugs, drinking, several marriages, died in his, oh boy, late 40s, early 50s, massive heart attack. And I absolutely refused to go to a funeral for calling hours.
I can't say
Uh, my
blame you.
family knew. My family knew why. Everyone else, I had to work. I was out of state, and I was out of state. Um, wasn't going to happen. I was not going to do it. So,
Now, the
mhm.
fact that his own parents were ready to believe you, I wonder, were there other behaviors he was already displaying at that young age? You know?
um, well, and that could have been because at that time, you know what? You're right, Melissa. He was a high school dropout a few years later.
Mhm,
So I don't know if there was something else going on because he was an only child. There's no one else there. His
mhm,
mother, father, and him. So I don't, and again, we weren't neighbors, we're an hour, 10, 15 minutes away. I
mhm.
don't know what happened. But there could have been behaviors. I would assume so, since down the road, the guy staged robbing his own parents' apartment. This guy robbed from my grandmother. I just recalled this. Hearing the story, how, boy, and it was probably 10, 12 years later. I was not there, but he robbed my grandmother. He took money out of her purse. Someone saw him do it. So then he got the wrath of the whole family on it, because my family, being the Italian, we're not quiet about anything, was on him about that. But I really, to this day, don't, and they're all gone. I'm the only one left. I really don't know if any of my mother's siblings or their spouses knew. I really don't know.
I just wonder, like, if there were just other inappropriate, even if it just hints around other kids in the
Yeah,
family, or, not trying to excuse him whatsoever, but
right.
if his parents already wondered
You
if
know,
there
they,
were.
but yeah, well, and in this case, no, Melissa, I was the youngest, and I mean young. He was the next closest to me at
Okay.
16, because the way it worked out, I was born when my parents were so late. All my cousins were a lot older.
Mm,
My own brother was 19, 20, 13 years older than me. My brother's 13 years older. So there
mhm.
were no other cousins my age or anything. It was him. We
Okay.
were literally the two youngest in the family. And it's just
Okay.
because, my mother had me so late in life. So now, if there were other issues with their neighbor kids or anything, I don't know. I don't know. Hmm.
Right. Oh, unfortunately, Christina says that her abuser is an FBI agent, and that makes it really hard to,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah. And how do you do that? I will reveal this to everyone today. This is so weird we're doing this in Akron. I read, and I didn't know it when she walked in the room, but at the time I kept hearing counselor, 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 a counselor for battered women in Akron. She is not a victim. It was something completely unrelated she came to see me about, but we started talking about something like this. I didn't tell her what happened, and she always said there's more and more help out there for people to call, and they will either come and get you or whatever. Um, regardless of status. And guys, we've all heard, let's face it, of the political stuff that goes on with our politicians, high ranking, things like that. It's been in the news for a year about a certain individual, people of privilege, let's say. Um, and she said there's always a way out. And I didn't know this. A lot of, according to her, the houses are kept hidden. I did not know that. She said they may look like a very residential neighborhood. Unfortunately, we all hear about the halfway houses in residential neighborhoods. Here, these are the safe houses, especially for women who have been abused. Now, if there are any for men, I don't know. I never thought to ask.
Mhm.
But it was interesting that that happened today with her. Passionate lady about it, and she's in her early to mid 30s, but very, very passionate about this. If any of you are wondering, no, I did not get the feeling that she herself had been a victim. I did not ask. I figure if I don't get that feeling, twinge, whatever, that's none of my business, and it did not come up.
Hmm.
But there is help out there. But in a situation like Christina's, it's that's a difficult choice in what to do, but it is out there, and maybe for someone just to be able to guide in what direction. I don't know. I don't know. I do hear uh, sometimes, well, people can look on your phone and see who you called, and that crosses the line too, in my opinion, into being more of a control freak. You know,
Mm.
yeah, hmm
Yeah, if anybody's joining us late, please feel free, questions and comments,
yes,
judgment-free zone.
yeah,
Um, the questions or comments can be about your own experience, or if you have questions for Greg,
hmm
in regards to spiritual development, psychic development, having gone,
yeah.
through
Um,
this.
One thing, Melissa, something you just touched on, and it triggered. It was this was out of state at a big haunted facility, and I was there, and a little boy came through. My little boy, 10 or 12, and he had a similar incident. I had to leave. I could not. Wow, I did it, but I had to go back in because that just plucked at me so hard that here's a little boy who's gone in spirit
Mhm.
coming through to me about that. And you talk about reaching to the depths of your soul for the strength to go on. But he went on, but it wasn't a family member for him, it was a staff member um, in the facility, because it was a very wealthy family, the home, the whole bit. But he came through, um, and we weren't able to verify that per se, but we were able to verify he was there, and he died when he was like 11 or 12. So, but that's probably, anyone wondering, that's probably the one who twinged me the most, if you will, or affected me the most. That was a little boy. He was there. Now, it's important to know, guys, he did not pass at the hands of his abuser. It was nothing like that. I
Oh,
believe, if memory serves me, he was killed like by a car or something after that. But no, it was not at the hands of his abuser. It's just my energy was there, and he knew it. And of course, come on, guys, spirit 2020 vision come through.
mm.
hmm
Oh,
So yeah.
Christine, she says she did report the abuse, and the FBI refused to act because it happened 17 years prior.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I I just don't know what to say with that. It Yeah, you did the legal way. I don't have any experience with that per se. Mine was family, and family reacted on it. And there's something to say, guys, again, for these close knit Italian families that are right there. Um, Honestly, I to this day I do not know what they said to him, what punishment, whatever. I don't know. Could that have led him to do what he did, to staging the robbery on their house some years later? I don't know. I don't care. Um, it could have been, but obviously, someone says they're mentally ill. You have to have pity. Yeah, that's, guys. That's a hard pill to swallow. Any of you have been through this, Charlie, Christina? It's hard to swallow. When we were there and so young. hmm
And he's never come through in spirit for you either. Like, hey, sorry, processing, trying to move on.
No, no, you know what? No. Uh-uh. Not at all. And I wonder, Melissa, I wonder too, because everybody is gone. The whole family's gone. His parents, my parents. I just have often wondered if they are keeping him from me in spirit. I've often wondered, are they keeping him from me in spirit? I don't know. I've never asked. I don't want to.
Right. And
hmm
that's probably, if they are, kudos to them for,
Yeah.
doing what needs to
Mhm.
be done for you.
Hey, come on, guys. We all ask spirit to protect us in some way. We do. Here's, my family, my parents, his parents, because his parents and I were really close. This uncle, this guy's father, used to take me fishing all
Hmm.
the time. Great. I mean, and nothing ever happened. Nothing. that this is the way spirit protects us. I mean, come on, how many of us ask for spirit to protect us? I'd like to think that's what mine are doing.
Well, and that's yay for like another pat on the back for them, to
Yeah.
have supportive
Hmm.
family on the side and that side. Um, and that's truly, because and I'm sure, Greg, you've heard and had the clients where the family didn't believe, the family didn't support, the family
Oh, yeah.
was like filling your head, you asked for it, and that's the thing. It seems like
Oh,
the girls asked for it and the boys, you're not allowed to say it happened, right? Because you're supposed to be strong and tough and no such thing will ever happen to you.
yeah.
And,
Good point.
or at
Hmm.
least it was before. Hopefully that's kind of starting to fade out,
Hmm.
as we're becoming more aware as a society, especially when it comes to
Yeah.
children. How in the world do you ask for it as a child? You know,
Yeah. I mean, and that night it happened. I mean, it literally out of the blue, to be honest. Now, what made him do that? I don't know. I don't
Mhm.
know. I know there was no drinking involved, no alcohol. I know that for a fact. But what made that happen that night? What was the trigger? I don't know. Um, uh, yeah, I don't know. And again, if it happened to anyone else, I don't know because I was the youngest. It was, we had a good 10 years between us. And it was just he and I, just the way the family was structured. Hmm.
Right. Well, guys, again, we're getting kind of close to the hour mark. So if there's
Hmm.
any last minute questions or comments regarding to this topic of sexual trauma
Hmm.
and spirituality, please feel free to put it in. Greg's going to answer you live.
Okay.
Um, Otherwise, we'll be wrapping up here soon, just, to be mindful and respect everybody's
Yeah.
time. Greg, you've had a full day of reading. I've
Yeah.
had a full day of work and
Yes,
travel.
you did. Hmm.
So, I'm ready to
Yeah.
rest. Greg,
Um,
you want to?
I will say this, Melissa, if it's okay with you, I will be reading at Goddess Elite next Saturday. Melissa, 13th?
Mhm.
Yeah. If
Yes.
anyone want, we will be, I don't know when the event is up yet, Melissa, or not. If anyone like for a reading or what that, but guys, I just want to make this clear. Remember, I am not a medical professional. I can listen. I cannot tell you what to do. Okay. I can tell if spirit comes through. I do know there are resources out there. It is very a personal thing. Melissa and I talked about this for a while, but I can listen, but I can't tell you what to do. Okay. You
Right.
have to take the proper choices. I'm not a medical professional, nor am I law enforcement. Okay.
Mhm.
I just thought I need to say that.
Right. Yeah. Neither one of us are licensed counselors of the sort.
Uh-huh.
Ray. See, my brain shutting down. Greg. I was going to call you Reg, like because it was a half
Yeah.
comic of Reiki and Greg.
Yeah.
You are, Reiki master. I, am as well with Peruvian shamanism. So I mean, there's
Uh-huh.
always,
Yeah.
energetic healing that can help. But I mean,
Hmm.
ultimately, you know, talk to somebody if you are of the mind and able to
Hmm.
start that process.
Yeah. Melissa, one thing you said too, and when people give me Reiki, whether it's here or anybody else, Reiki or some of the other healings, and they pick up on something like that, this is me personally. I just say it's rather something I don't talk about. I am very guarded with that. Um, it, with people like I'm there for a healing session because of something else. I don't want to dig that up. Someone once said you have to let it go. I said I don't choose to, and we're done. That's where my stubborn streak comes in. Um,
Well, and
and again,
that's,
yeah,
that if and when you do, like you have to feel safe to do it.
yeah, and
Um,
comfortable. Yeah, trusting.
Safe and comfortable with yourself with even
Hmm.
approaching that topic and who you are allowing to hold that space to help you do the healing. Because let's face it, you
Yeah.
and I really aren't doing the healing.
Right.
The person
Right.
is doing,
Hmm.
um, and or any of the other facilitators through the store.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
Um, but that's the thing, so please don't go rushing to any healer, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
we want you to feel safe. And, if
Hmm.
you're not ready to do it, don't do it. But, you know,
Yeah.
it is a safe space. And this is
Hmm.
not, somewhere where when you leave, Greg and I or whoever, when I'm like, well, man, that so and so, you should hear about the crap that they've been through.
Oh, yeah. No,
You
no,
know,
no, no. Mm-mm, not
that's
at all.
I won't
Hmm.
know a peep of what happened for you.
Right.
Well, I think the only way that you would is if, like, I think they are leaving to go hurt themselves. And then it might be like, well, and this has never come up, but it's like, well, let's go get the plate real quick and call,
Yeah.
sure. But
Yeah.
that's the only
Hmm.
reason that,
Hmm.
because it's a client confidentiality.
And that's a
You know,
good point.
so,
I treat it as such. And those of you who know me, any of my readings, Melissa, I know you do that as well. We do that. But like I said, during the healing, whether it's Reiki or anything like that, um, I'm not there to talk about it. I'm there for the healing, the relaxation, bad day, or whatever. And I know that there are professionals out there to help me, and that's what I would encourage everyone else to do. Um, in fact, the gentleman today, just retreating to the very beginning of our conversation, and I told him, I said, there are, or have you? I didn't say that. I said, have you considered any help to help you get through this? And he said, in time I might, but I'm not ready yet. And that's it. Again, we are not doctors. We're not the professionals
right.
on their own terms. Yeah, Melissa, good point.
Hmm. You know, yeah, Christina, unfortunately, she was told, you must have done something to make him think. And no,
Yeah,
no. And you know
no.
what? Even if not saying that, but even still, depending on the circumstances going on, the situation, if that is an adult and you are a minor, it doesn't matter if that minor is throwing themselves at you. The adult is supposed to be like, no, no, and then maybe go talk to the parents and like,
Yeah.
the problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
okay to ever
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. In this situation, that individual today, and I don't know, said he would be considered a pedophile. Why wasn't he arrested? Guys, I don't know. I was 7. It was in the late 60s, maybe 1970, maybe. I don't know. Why wasn't he arrested? I don't know. Family issues, obviously, from the track record what this individual had with crime and jail. After that, there were some serious problems. I don't know. Mhm.
Well, even because I'm the true crime junkie, when you listen to the
Oh,
stories that
yeah. Hmm.
happen, the police turned the blind eye so
Hmm.
many times when they shouldn't have,
Yeah.
because they'd rather not have to deal with it and address it. And
Yeah.
the word of a small person versus an adult, for one. Um, if that was somebody they knew and they were from a good family, well, we're not going to muddle the name of the family for the one person
Hmm.
that might be doing wrong. So, I mean, it was very common, unfortunately,
Yeah.
20, 30, 40, 50 years ago to not address it.
Yeah, exactly. Hmm.
So, well, thank you everybody for joining us for this topic. And thank you, Greg, for being willing to,
Hmm.
put it out there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not something easy to do.
No, and it took a while, guys. Um, Melissa did not know about this till what, a couple months ago, Melissa, when we talked about it. You did not know. I keep it hidden. Um, like I said, to this day, I really don't know if any of my family members, now they are all gone, I don't know if they know or not. Nothing I can do about it now, and I don't need them coming through to tell me they knew. I don't need that. I need the rest of it. Um, but it's something I keep private, and um, just if anyone has an issue, there are the avenues, and I encourage it. And again, let me reiterate: I know I was extremely fortunate and lucky to have my parents supporting me, believe in me, and getting right on it. And even my aunt and uncle taking care of everything for that too. And that I am eternally grateful because, guys, we all know it could have been a lot worse. A lot worse.
Hmm. Yes. And you know what?
Yeah.
And thank you to Christina and Charlie
Yes, by all
for
means. Hmm.
sharing and putting your story out there live, with everybody as well. Um, that is also, you know, just because you're not on the screen, it is still a huge thing. And thank you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Hmm.
you
By
know,
all means. So
so, thanks from Christina for us, from Robin,
you're welcome.
Sandra, um, Sandy, Loretta, um,
Oh yeah,
Laura.
there's Loretta. Yeah.
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 So, but
Laura, yeah.
but thank you guys for joining us. And Greg's here at the store usually at least twice a month. So
Try
feel
to.
free,
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
whether we're meeting this time of year because it is Ohio. But we're usually pretty good at showing up when it's snowing
Yeah.
out. So
Yeah. Yeah, we try. We try. But so anyway, guys, I'm glad you were all there. Hopefully it helps. Again, I realize I was extremely lucky and fortunate. It could have been a lot worse. I was believed and I had the family support. And thank you. I have your support now too as well. So, and again, thanks to Melissa for putting it out there. But I do, again, just to reiterate, when doing my readings in the mediumship, this is one of those things where I can, whether it's male or female, I consider it special that I can be able to tap in and make that person feel, and no, not feel, no, they are not alone.
mhm,
Okay.
wonderful.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much, and
Thank you.
we're we're gonna sign off for the night. But thank
Okay.
you.
Bye bye. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.